exciting. We're going to have a look at a bald eagle next, and that's going to be coming in this direction over here. This is Sydney, and Sydney is 23 years of age. This is actually the oldest bird that we have here at the castle. And it really is an absolutely stunning bird. It really is a beautiful bird. Lovely white head and white tail. That is, of course, its adult plumage. If you were here in the first show, you will have seen our baby bald eagle, which was Merlin, which is actually completely, completely different altogether to his mum and dad. He's actually black, he's got a black beak, he's got yellow feet, but of course he's just starting to grow into an adult bird. This is actually a bird that's had a tremendous amount of flying experience. At 23 years, it's been working pretty near every day of its life, but we've had some surprises along the way. And to give you an idea of where this bird came from, it actually was a wild bird. It actually came from Canada. It was actually eventually brought into a zoo called Winnipeg Zoo, but it actually originated in the wild. It was in a forest fire, the whole forest was on fire, and a Canadian ranger, very bravely climbed up a nest and actually rescued the 2 bald eagles that were in the nest. And in doing so, of course, saved their lives, but that condemned them to a life of captivity, because of course once a bird has been hand-reared, then effectively it thinks it's a human being, and so as a general rule it would want to breed with another Canadian ranger, and of course that doesn't work very well. You don't really want a bald eagle sitting on your shoulder in July and August. So Sydney has spent his entire life in captivity, and because he was the smaller of the 2 bald eagles that were in the nest, we naturally presumed that he was a boy. Females are bigger by about 1/3, and it was only on Sydney's 18th birthday, when he laid an egg, that we sort of got the idea that he was a girl. And I talk about him all the time as a girl and as a boy, so it is a bit confusing for us as well, but it is a very, very, very small female bald eagle. And technically a bird like this should not breed with another bald eagle, but Archie, our male bald eagle, took up the opportunity and the challenge, and I don't know whether he just has access to red wine and chocolates, but for some reason Sydney and Archie hit it off. They had an egg last year that was fertile, and we produced a baby bald eagle called Merlin. So I was incredibly happy, absolutely over the moon. And to be honest, they don't really like their baby now, because of course he's a year old, and that means that he's competition for them out in the wild. They would have driven him off by this stage, and our eagles here at the castle don't really like doing the sort of caring and sharing routine. They all want their tea every day. Keep going, mate. Now, when I put my hands up into the air, essentially that just means tread water or do something a little bit more sort of exciting, like a tighter turn. And you might be looking at a bird like this and thinking to yourself, well, it must have been brilliant to be able to fly and hunt with enormous big eagles like this. But to be honest, most of the time, these birds are so big that they can't twist and turn and follow prey. And Sydney, it looks as though he's missed his opportunity there, and he's gone right past onto the east front over there. And you can see a little bit of fresh air blowing around, but where he is at the moment, the wind is actually blowing over the top of the castle. So the only way that Sydney can get back is either, well, I guess to dig deep and work his way up this way, or what will probably happen is he'll work his way around the island here and actually come up in this direction here. Here he is. We'll give Sydney the rest of his tea. Here he comes. It's going to be very low in this top bit here. Ooh, yeah. So let's give Sydney a really big round of applause. He's done very, very well for us there. Now, just to give you an idea of his turning circle, if you want to see if you can do the smallest circle that you can, Sydney, I'll just whiz him off in that direction, and he usually hits the air brakes and goes round in the tightest circle that is possible. He's just going to go, do you know what, I'm actually going for a fly. I'm going to go right around the far side of the castle. That was actually quite a big circle for a very small circle, but his turning circle is about 50 meters, something like that. I think you just did that to get that extra bit of food anyway, didn't you? So he's going to be leaving up in this top corner. It's going to be fairly low, but I'm going to give him a big bump start as he goes over the top of you. It's always nice to see mothers protecting the shoulders with children. I thought that you girls were caring.